Hi, I'm Elvis Garcia, and today we're going to explore some of the most famous yoga poses like downward facing dog and child's pose. All you'll need is a strap. Meet me on your back. Today, we're starting class off in a pose we call constructive rest pose. So make sure that your knees are roughly and slightly in front of your hips. Have your knees knock in and heel toe the feet out so the pinky toes are barely off of the edges of the mat. Go ahead and bring one hand to your belly, bring one hand to your chest, and let's just take a few exaggerated breaths. Inhale in through the nose and out through the mouth. And repeat. Inhale in through the nose. And open the mouth side out. One last time, just like that. Inhale in through the nose. And open the mouth side out. Continue to breathe in and out through your nose. Inhale. And exhale. Now, a few things before we get started. Make sure that you have set these next 30 minutes just for you. So you want to make sure that anything that's going to distract you is completely out of the room. Full breath in through the nose and out. And here's where we're going to grab our strap. So grab your strap, and let's just bring heel toe the feet back together to the centered line, and bring just your right knee into your chest. With the right knee into your chest, go ahead and use a strap to strap it up all the way. And if you don't have a strap at home, it's okay. You can use a tie, you can use a shirt, you can use a towel, you can use anything that's just long enough to reach over your foot and then for you to grab with your hands. So take a full breath in, inhale, and exhale. Now we're going to keep our left leg bent here. It's going to be just a little bit easier on our right leg and our right hamstring. And now, it doesn't matter how high your leg is. So if your leg is at a 45-degree angle, or if your leg is a little bit higher, it's all right. If you're a little bit on the more bendy side and you can bring your heel to stack right on top of your hip, then that's going to be the ideal place. Now, you want to make sure that you're not choking all the way up onto your strap so much that it lifts your shoulders off the ground. You want to make sure that your shoulders stay down towards the ground. And if you have really, really tight hamstrings, sometimes a small bend in the knee will help that. Full breath in through the nose and exhale. Now you're going to start to feel some stimulation on the back of the leg, and that's really what we're working on. We're trying to stretch out our hamstrings so we can feel warm and ready when we go into our downward facing dog. Now bring your strap, both strap or your towel, whatever you're using, into your left hand, and then take your right palm and push it on top of your right thigh, and then kind of push your thigh towards the back, towards the front of your mat, or towards your left heel, so you feel just a little bit more lengthening. Full breath in through the nose, inhale, and exhale. 2 more breaths, inhale, and exhale. Last full breath, in here, and exhale. Very nice. Go ahead and grab your strap, release it, and then just bend your right knee. Put your right foot down onto the ground, a little wiggle, and then bring your left knee into your chest. Give it a nice squeeze. Kick your foot up, strap your foot, and lift it up. And again, shoulders down to the ground. Remember, it's all right no matter what height it's at. Just make sure you try to bring it as close to the other side as possible, just so we can create a sense of balance and awareness in our legs and in our body. Full breath in and out. Now you can always experiment with which place of putting the strap feels better. The top or the balls of the foot is going to be a little bit more hamstring activated, especially if you let the weight of your hands pull the foot down, so you'll feel a little bit more. If you want to sense more grounding, it could be a little bit closer towards your heel. Just find a place that feels best for you today. Full breath in through the nose and out. Put a slight bend in your knee, just a wee baby little bend in the knee. Move your straps to your right hand. Take your left palm and then bring the palm as close as you can to the hip bone, and then push the top of the thigh towards your right heel. And then again, continue to breathe here. You'll start to feel a little bit more stimulation on the back of the leg, which is what we're mainly focusing on. One full breath in through the nose. And exhale. One more full breath in. And exhale. Go ahead and grab your strap. Slowly release. Bend your left knee. Put the leg down on the ground. And we're going to add one movement to that. Go ahead and strap the right side up one more time. Full breath in through the nose. Inhale. And on the exhale, slowly extend your left leg towards the front of the room, and notice how that simple movement may have not felt A, that simple, and B, how just pushing or extending your opposite leg started to bring more sensation on the back of your right hamstring. Again, if you need a small bend, you can bend it, or if you need to extend or lower your leg, go ahead and feel what works best for you today. One full breath in through the nose, inhale. Exhale. One more just for good measure. Inhale and exhale. First, bend your left knee, put it back onto the floor, release the strap, and bring your right foot all the way down. Same thing, left side. Go ahead and strap up the left side. Extends all the way up towards the ceiling. Flex your foot, and then slowly extend your right leg towards the front of the room. Breathe in through the nose and out. Again, bring most of your awareness to the back of your left leg, and just notice the sensations that are arising, and notice if your hamstring is really yelling at you and you're shaking, just lower the leg a little bit. It's all right. Breathe. 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Now remember the work of the thigh, of you pushing your palm into your thigh. Try to do that same work right here as you push. One last full breath in, inhale, and exhale. Very nice. Go ahead and slowly bend your right leg, bring it back, release the strap, bring your foot down towards the ground, and then set your strap aside. Let's roll onto, let's come into a seated pose. So let's roll over. The next pose we're going to look at is a child's pose. So come up to a tabletop pose, bring your big toes together to touch, and then slowly just shoot your hips straight back. And then for today's purpose, you can cross your forearms and then let your forehead rest on your forearms. And just take a few moments here to breathe. Inhale and exhale. Now, child's pose is a really great place to come to anytime that your practice gets too strong or too hard for the moment. This is a nice resting pose. It's grounding. One more full breath in, inhale, and exhale. Very nice. Go ahead and use your hands to push yourself up to a tabletop pose. Tabletop pose, just stack your wrists, elbows, and shoulders all in one line. And what we're just going to do is we're going to rock back a little bit and then bring our right foot towards the front of the room. Now, if you need to swing it out or find any other way to get into it find any way basically to get your foot towards the front. We're going to flex our right foot and we're going to start to shoot our hips back. This is the half split pose. So you may need to walk your hands even further back here. What we're really trying to focus on is increasing the hip bend or what we call flexion, we're trying to deepen the hip flexion, and we're trying to extend and have a really long spine. And then keep looking towards the front of your mat. Breathe. So again, most of the stimulation is happening on the back side of your right leg. You want to keep trying to scrub your heel towards the back and breathe. We'll hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Now, if you notice that your spine is really rounding and it maybe even feels like your tailbone is tucked all the way under like a sad little dog, you want to make sure that you extend your tailbone back and really lengthen the spine. We'll take 1 more full breath in. Inhale and exhale. Slowly, just lean towards the front. Just lean forward. Plant your hands. Again, if you need to swing your foot back, swing your foot back. It's a tabletop pose. Lean slightly back and then just rock yourself forward and bring your left leg up. Once your left leg is up, start to shoot your hips towards the back of the room. Adjust anything that needs to be adjusted, knee placement, foot placement, hand placement, and then breathe. Again, for today's purpose, you can have your toes curled if that's a little more comfortable for you. You can have the toes to the top of the mat. But really, that's not the focus. Mainly focus is on how your left leg is feeling. Continue to shoot your left hip bone towards the back of the mat and breathe. Inhale and exhale. Have a nice proud chest. Keep looking towards the front of your mat. And sometimes I like to say to just smile with your collarbones. So imagine you can look to the front of the room with your collarbones and just think of it as a small little smile. 2 more breaths. Inhale and exhale. Shaking is okay. If you're shaking now, it's all right. It means we're human. 1 last full breath in. Inhale and exhale. Slowly bend your knee. Rock forward. You need to swing your leg, swing it back any way you can, and let's take a quick child's pose again. Big toes touching, knees out wide, forehead comes all the way to your forearms. 2 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Very nice. Extend our hands towards the front of the mat. Come up to a tabletop pose. And here, let's just curl our back toes. We're going to lift the knees up just for a moment, and then we're going to shoot our hips towards the back of the room. So it feels like we're pushing our hands into the mat. We're lengthening our tailbone towards the back of the mat. We're reaching. We're trying to lengthen the spine. Your knees are bent here. So it's like an elevated child's pose. And then on your inhale, slowly start to straighten out your legs. Now, here's downward facing dog. I believe one of the most famous yoga poses out there. Go ahead and have a small bend into your knee, or maybe you need a big bend in the knee if you are a little bit tighter in the hamstrings. And let's just straighten out our right leg. Notice the sensations happening on the back of the leg. And then let's bend the right leg. Let's straighten out our left leg. Nice and straight, straighten it out. Try to take your legs, the top of the legs, and push them to the back of the room, and then bend your left leg. Both knees bent. Bring awareness to your hip crease. Now, as you try to straighten out your right leg again, shoot your right hip crease towards the back and towards the ceiling. And feel the sensation in the back of the leg. And then slowly bend your right leg. Bring the awareness to the top left hip crease. Push the top left hip crease up towards the ceiling. And then straighten out your left leg. Feel what it feels like to stretch the hamstring out. Then bring it right back, and if you can muster a little bit of strength, straighten out both legs at the same time. If, when you straighten out both legs, you feel your tailbone, again, tuck under, so again, like your tailbone is tucking in between your legs. If that happens when you straighten out your leg, just bend your knee, again, and shoot your tailbone all the way up. Drive your heels down towards the ground. 1 more full breath. You can do this. Inhale. And exhale, let's take a rest. Drop our knees down, big toes touching, and lower our forehead down to our forearms again. Let's take 2 breaths. Notice what it feels like every time you come down to a rest. How has the pose affected your body? Inhale. And exhale. One more full breath in. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. Let's extend our hands right back out. And let's just go right into downward facing dog. Rock forward, curl your toes, and shoot your hips right back into it. Downward facing dog. Breathe. Now you look at your toes here. You want to make sure that your toes are pointing straight towards the front of the room. You want to drive your inner heels down towards the ground and try to lift both your inner arch and your outer arch. Your arms, go ahead and look at your arms. Make sure your fingers are pointing straight forward, either your pointer fingers or your middle fingers, as long as the wrist is parallel to the mat. Then breathe, push away, and think of your upper arm bones wrapping down so you have space in the shoulders. And then notice what your belly's doing. Make sure your spine is long, your belly is engaged. One full breath in through the nose. Inhale. And exhale. Walk your hands back. Put a small bend into your knees. Push your hands and walk them all the way back to the back of your mat. Heel toe your feet out so they're hip distance apart. Bring your hands to your elbows. Reach for opposite elbows. Bend your knees so your chest is resting on your thighs, and let the head hang heavy. Inhale. And exhale. So this is a forward fold, or in yoga we call it an uttanasana. Full breath in through the nose, inhale, and exhale. Now, we want to try to keep our chest and our thighs connected together in this next little sequence, but it's totally okay if there's a small separation there. One full breath in, inhale, and exhale. On your next inhale, think about where your hands are at the top of the thighs, and think about pushing the tops of the thighs all the way back to the wall. And as that happens, you'll notice it starts to straighten out your legs. Again, when you straighten out your legs, your spine rounds and your tailbone tucks, then just put a small bend, a wee bend again, and then just allow yourself to tilt and breathe. Forward fold. One inhale in through the nose. And exhale out. Very nice. Inhale, we'll halfway lift. We're going to bring our hands to our outer shins, and think about pushing our hands into the outer shins and pushing our outer shins into our hands. We're going to lengthen the crown of the head towards the front of the mat. Shoot your tailbone towards the back. One full breath in, and exhale, release. Again, inhale, hands to the outer shins, halfway lift, lengthen, straighten out your arms, bring your hands to your hips, and slowly come all the way up. Tadasana. Full breath in through the nose. Inhale. And exhale. On your inhale, extend your arms up towards the ceiling. We're just going to breathe. We're going to lift. Inhale. And as you exhale, just move your hips slightly back, have a small bend into your knees, bring yourself all the way down to a forward fold. Bringing your awareness to the back of the legs, noticing how the hamstrings are just feeling a little bit more open. Put your hands onto your outer shins, lengthen the spine. We'll hold it. One full breath, inhale. And exhale brings you all the way down. Beautiful. Inhale, rise all the way up. Reach your arms all the way up towards the ceiling. Stand up as tall as you can. Press your arms together. And exhale, just let your hands come all the way down to the sides and all the way down. And repeat. We'll repeat that process a few more times. Inhale, lift your arms up. This is called a sun salute to the sun. And exhale, forward fold. Shoot your hips straight back as you forward fold. Be light on your toes. And then just touch the ground. Again, bend your knees if you need to. Bring your hands to your outer shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Lengthen the crown of the head. Shoot your tailbone back. And exhale, forward fold all the way down. Make sure that your toes are nice and relaxed. On your inhale, bring yourself all the way to standing one last time as you reach up. And exhale, hands out by the side, and slowly bring your arms all the way down. Last time, inhale, lift your arms all the way up. And on the exhale, move your hips back. Fold all the way down to the ground. Nice and easy, nice and slow. On your inhale, you come to the halfway lift, hands to the outside, lengthen the spine. And on the exhale, plant your hands, put a small bend into the knees, and start to walk your hands forward to downward facing dog. As we do so, you want to make sure that you drive your heels down to the ground. Keep breathing, keep extending your arms forward, bring awareness right back to the hip crease, and send the hip crease all the way to the back of your mat and towards the ceiling. 2 to 3 breaths in downward facing dog, noticing how the back of the legs are feeling now. Inhale and exhale. And repeat. Inhale. And exhale. One more full breath in. Inhale. And exhale. Bend your knees. Drop your knees all the way down to the ground. Your big toes touch, and shoot your hips all the way to your heels. And this time, let's bring our hands all the way back into an embryo pose. You're going to make sure that your forehead comes down to the ground. Now in child's pose, you want to make sure that when your head is resting, it's actually pulling the skin of the forehead down towards your eyes. It doesn't have to be like violently doing so. It's just a small little direction of it. And the other direction is if it was pulling your skin away from the eyes. What that does is it makes the pose a little bit more calming when the skin of the forehead is closer to the eyes. It's a little more sense of relaxation in the pose. Again, don't take my own word for it. Go ahead and try it. Notice what it feels like to have the skin pull away from the eyes. It feels like someone's trying to pull your eyes open. And then notice what it feels like to rest and then bring the skin of the forehead down towards the eyes. 3 breaths. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more full breath in. Inhale. And exhale. Very nice. Go ahead and bring your arms right back towards your face, and then push yourself all the way up. Rock yourself forward, and we're going to spin onto our backs. So spin your feet forward, and then slowly roll yourself down. You bring yourself all the way onto your back. You're going to go right back into the constructive rest pose we started, your knees knocking in towards each other. I want to make sure that your tailbone is also extending towards the front of the mat. You'll take your arms out wide like a cactus. You'll take a full breath in through the nose. Inhale. And on the exhale, we're just going to let our right knee open to the right side, and we're going to let our left knee follow along. So it's just a little baby twist. And we're going to hold this twist just for a few rounds of breath. One thing to really focus on is to make sure that your left shoulder stays firmly rooted onto the earth, onto the mat. Breathe in through the nose and out. And just allow this moment here for relaxation. The hard stuff is already over. Inhale. And exhale. One last full breath in. Inhale. And exhale. Slowly push your right big toe into the ground to help bring your knee back up. We'll go to constructive rest position for 1 breath. Inhale. And on the exhale, let your left knee just open up and let your right knee just chase it, just follows. So your feet don't actually move. We're just moving the knees. The knees open up, which the movement is coming from deep inside of our hip sockets. Again, bring awareness to your right shoulder. Let the right shoulder stay connected to your mat. Almost feels like your collarbone is extending all the way to your elbow. 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. On the exhale, especially try to bring your shoulder down to the ground. Inhale and exhale. Last full breath here. Inhale and exhale. Very nice job. On your next inhale, bring your left knee and your right knee all the way up. You're going to heel toe your feet all the way back together. You're going to slowly extend your right leg forward, then extend your right leg or right and then left. And then you're just going to shake your legs side to side, just back and forth. You're going to take your arms right next to the side. You're going to take 1 full breath in, inhale, and then exhale, find some stillness. Let everything go. In yoga, we have this pose, the one we're in here, it's called Shavasana. It's just another resting pose. It's where we all end class. And our goal here is just to find stillness. The goal here is to be aware of our body and notice what affects the practice, what we just did. What effects do those have on our body? How does our body feel now as opposed to when it started? We're just going to give ourselves 5 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Let these breaths be long. Let them be exaggerated. And exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now, as your practice progresses, you're going to want to stay here just a little bit longer. But for now, this is all we have time for. The 30 minutes are just about to wrap up that you gave yourself. So start to wiggle your toes, start to wiggle your nose, start to wiggle your fingers, and let's bend our knees back to the way we started in constructive rest pose. Roll or extend your right hand behind you. Roll onto your right side. Use your top hand to lift you all the way up to a seated pose. And notice what the effects of the practice have had on your body. 1 full breath in and out. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you soon.